Hi. So there's this one thing that I wanted to talk about, and really I have a lot of things to say, but I don't think anyone has the attention span for that because I haven't really rehearsed it. So I think I'll just say it concisely, and that's that. Well, first off, we got a new snowfall. Look at all that white. Look at all that white. That field of white. It just goes on, and I'm not gonna make a snowman, but I like the crunch of the snow. This reminds me of skiing. Um, and perhaps less importantly, um, I would say that I definitely believe in nihilism or nihilism. I believe that the universe is inherently meaningless. But I would say I identify with positive nihilism, and that's that people can arbitrarily create meaning. We can. These look like dog. Someone's been walking their dog here. So yeah, like people decide for themselves what is meaningful. That's pretty much all I have to say. There's a whole bunch of like corollaries that follow from that. Like you could imagine that you could say people experience pain differently. People experience happiness differently. Like in my case, I don't really value my own happiness too highly, and but I do value my pain. Like I prioritize avoiding pain quite highly. I value that, and everybody will value different things. So everybody has their own sensibilities or virtues, likes and dislikes, beliefs about what is right or wrong. Mm, People even have beliefs about like what their own rights are, and so when you break those rights, or when you go against those virtues, like I want to give examples so badly, but there's just so many cringy examples that come to mind. Um, right, because there's paradoxes, right? And so I think that nihilism is very it resolves a lot of paradoxes that other belief systems don't have. um, so you can segue from nihilism to existentialism. The illogical and self-contradictory way to do it is through absurdism, where people say, well, everything's just so crazy and you know doesn't make sense, so I'll just cherry pick what serves my interests. And that's absurdism, and I think that's stupid, and that's what a clown, when someone uses the word clown as an insult, that's what they're referring to. um, that's what I refer to when I call people a clown. um, and then there's just existentialism, of just like from a more, I guess, believing that there's already meaning like existing before we arrive and arbitrate it. And I suppose subjectively, like yes, there's arbitrary meaning. But this is interesting for morality, because I think that there's an egalitarian standpoint to nihilism where everyone is equal in that we have no worth. So it doesn't discriminate against certain types of people. So nihilism is an interesting starting point for defining personhood. What is a person, right? We can look at the traits of what a person is and then define personhood that way. Or we can go from a solipsist perspective. Or even, with epistemology, we can say that, like, we know we exist because we're aware of our own thoughts, or we're aware of our own stimulus. So, what kind of organisms have qualia? What kind of organisms are aware of their own stimulus or aware of their own thoughts? Well, or anything with a neural network, you know, like you could say plants have feelings, but plants don't decide the worth of their own feelings. Um, but how much cognitive power do you need in order to decide, in order to place self-worth, right? And what about people who have like a negative self-worth? What about people who enjoy pain or certain types of pain, or who have a high tolerance to pain, or just accept pain, and so yeah, there are these cases where like, oh, um, like, can you make these trade-offs? Like, does this person believe that you can trade their happiness for someone else's? Does this how much does someone value their own rights? Does someone value their own rights enough for you to break their rights for the greater good? And are you comfortable doing that? And how does this change other people's behavior? Because you could argue that morality is that people decide what is right or wrong based on like conditioning, and that we need to make that the long-term effects of our choices are really correlated to conditioning, and how our choices condition people. So there's paradoxes like deception, where for example, you could trick a child into believing in God and that they'll go to heaven if they are compassionate to people. And if the child never finds out, then they'll act compassionate. If they do find out, well, maybe the child will get hurt. And like, do we measure that hurt emotionally? Do we measure it physically? Is there a spiritual aspect? Is there a mental aspect? I like to measure suffering through physical and mental well-being, because that's how I quantify my own suffering. But some people value emotions, some people value social bonds, devotion, like what do you call it? Like a heredity story, like honoring the dead, and kind of like that. There's this ongoing story of like you inherit the story of your ancestors, or like that there's like that their family is on some journey. I'm just randomly saying that. I don't really know how this ties in at all, because I don't think about that ever. That's not how I quantify my own happiness or suffering. And different, yeah, how would actually, I don't know how someone who hates themselves would integrate suffering over time with respect to personhood if they don't value their own personhood. That's odd. I think it's good to teach virtues to children at a young age so that they can be groomed to get enjoyment out of acting virtuous. Because once someone adopts other philosophies like egoism or narcissism, then they can just tune out reality, because humans love to escape reality. And so yeah, it's I guess it's offensive for to argue about virtues, because nihilism comes off as very deconstructivist, right? It's taboo to go up to somebody and say everything you believe in is meaningless, because like, what's the point of saying that? Obviously you're trying to debunk their beliefs, and so even if that's objectively true, it's very rude to tell somebody that everything they believe in is meaningless. And on the on the opposite end of the coin, it's like the nicest thing you can do is say to somebody like, what you're doing is like, I appreciate that. Like it's awesome that you try to do what you are trying to do. Like, that is the nicest thing you can say to somebody. Like, if someone's going for a goal, they work on it, and you're like, oh, that work you did, that's good. Like, good for you, good job. Like, that's the nicest thing you can say to somebody. This nice, beautiful field, I've ruined it with my footprints. It was a nice white snow like this. Now I've just destroyed the purity. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it looks better now, eh? I get to enjoy the whiteness, and you get to enjoy the whiteness. So, I don't know. Canada, man, we got snow. I thought it wasn't gonna come, but New Year rolls around. Like the day after Christmas, we started getting snow. Before, nope. That's worrisome, isn't it? Oh, it just sank here. There's like it's like deeper here. I think there's some water underneath or something. I don't know. I don't really remember what else I was gonna say. So, peace. I guess the video's over because I can't remember what I was gonna. This is cool. I can feel there's like water under here. This is like slush. It's like slush, but it's not wet slush. All the wetness is underneath. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, are you jealous? This is what brings me happiness. There is meaningfulness to stepping on this slush. This is what gives me joy in life. At the moment. Alright, maybe I'll use my nose. Bye.